This is an unholy demon. I'm sending it back to hell.
You're right. I'll go.
Judge Claude Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, the most terrifyingly accurate portrayal of religious abuse Disney has ever dared to put on screen. And by religious abuse, I don't mean someone giving you the side eye in Sunday school. I mean the calculated, manipulative use of religious authority to strip people of free will, crush independent thought, and justify cruelty under the cloak of holiness. In other words, gaslighting. Frollo is not your cookie-cutter Disney villain with a catchy song and a silly sidekick. He's the man who broke Disney's formula. They have never created a villain so horrifyingly real since. The film doesn't waste a single second showing us who we're dealing with. The opening scene is arguably one of Disney's boldest, darkest openings ever. The very first thing Frollo does when introduced is chase down a desperate woman holding her baby. She runs to Notre Dame steps, begging for sanctuary, and what does the so-called holy man do? He knocks her down on the cathedral stone step, fracturing her skull, killing her instantly. That woman is none other than Quasimodo's mother. Now let's pause. Not only is Disney letting a villain commit murder on screen in the first few minutes, but the victim is an unarmed innocent mother. He convinces himself it wasn't really his fault because of course a man so holy could never be wrong. But the horror doesn't stop there. After murdering the mother, Frollo picks up her infant, peels back the cloth, and sees Quasimodo's face. And what's his reaction? Compassion? Regret? Girl, please. He declares the child a demon and tries to drown him in a well. Yes, Frollo actually attempts baby murder within minutes of being on screen. His logic, if he reduces a child to something less than human, a monster, then he's not a murderer, he's just cleaning up a mess. This is the twisted rationalization of a man who truly believes his word is God's word. The only reason Quasimodo survives is because the Archdeacon of Notre Dame swoops in and delivers a reality check. He tells Frollo essentially, you can cover up your crimes all you want, but you can't escape divine judgment. For the first and only time, Frollo flinches. The idea that God might actually be watching him is enough to shake him. Out of fear, not love, not mercy, but fear for his own soul, he spares the child. Barely. He agrees to raise the baby, naming him Quasimodo, and it gets more disrespectful, his name meaning half-formed, and locks him in a bell tower like a dirty secret for the next 20 years. This is not redemption, this is damage control. Frollo sees himself as untouchable, holy, righteous, above consequence. When things go wrong, he doesn't take responsibility, he just points the finger at anyone else, especially the powerless. That's his true talent, weaponizing religion, law, and fear to prop himself as flawless while he tramples over everyone else. Let's get one thing straight though. Frollo believes in God, wholeheartedly. He's not an atheist villain or some skeptic hiding. He believes, but is a twisted, self-serving brand of belief where God conveniently agrees with everything Frollo already wants to do. It's the kind of faith that says, God's will just so happens to look exactly like my will. What a coincidence. And honestly, that's the most dangerous kind of belief because it cloaks abuse and holiness. Frollo is the poster child for abuse of religion. He thinks his righteousness makes him flawless, even as he's racking up sins like they're merit badges. Contrast with the Archdeacon of Notre Dame in the movie. When Esmeralda seeks sanctuary, the Archdeacon doesn't sneer, doesn't condemn, doesn't demand conversion. He does what he's supposed to do. He protects, serves, and offers refuge. He embodies compassion without strings attached. That's faith at its best. Meanwhile, Frollo, our so-called holy man, is too busy sniffing his own self-righteousness to see that he's the villain in the story. And we need to talk about how he treats Quasimodo. This is not parenting, this is dog training. Frollo conditions Quasimodo with a steady cocktail of fear, shame, and false affection. Every interaction is a mind game. If you obey me, I'll reward you. If you disobey me, I'll punish you. He drills into Quasimodo's head that the outside world will mock him, hate him, and reject him. He repeats it until Quasimodo internalizes it, and it hits its peak in the song Out There. Frollo's line, "It's I alone who you can trust in this whole city. I am your only friend." Translation, nobody else will love you, so you're stuck with me, kid. That's not mentorship, that's a hostage situation disguised as fatherhood. And the wild part, Frollo doesn't even see it. In his own mind, line, he's a saint for raising this half-formed child. Now, fast forward to the Festival of Fools. Quasimodo finally steps outside, only to be mocked and humiliated in front of the crowd. And where is Frollo? Where is he? Sitting there watching, refusing to intervene. The one person who does step in is Esmeralda, our unapologetic queen, who embodies compassion and courage without needing anyone's religious stamp of approval. Esmeralda calls Frollo out to his face.
You speak of justice, yet you are cruel to those most in need of your help.
That's it. That's the line that slices him open. Frollo's greatest hypocrisy lies bare. He preaches virtue but lives in cruelty. And the movie doesn't just let Esmeralda speak truth to power, it lets her sing it. And God help the outcast. She prays in the very cathedral that Frollo weaponizes, asking for nothing more than kindness and justice for the oppressed. She just wants love and mercy to matter more than power. Meanwhile, the so-called holy man is out here lusting, murdering, and gaslighting with the confidence of a televangelist. The sad part, Frollos are not confined to fiction. They walk among us in churches, in courtrooms, in politics. People who abuse their authority, convinced that their power makes their actions righteous. And when you refuse to see your own flaws, when you crown yourself as flawless, you're not close to God. You're dangerously close to being the villain of someone else's story.
Oh, yeah.
Bro, Disney back then had balls animating a movie like this. I don't know where their balls are at right now, probably got stolen just like Okaroons. Let's not tiptoe around it. This movie tackles sexual harassment, abuse of power, racism, religious hypocrisy, and outright murder, all in an animated film with singing gargoyles. And the wildest part, Disney pulled it off. They somehow wrapped one of the darkest, most mature stories they ever told inside the package of a kid's movie. Now, compare that to Disney today. Do you think modern day Disney would dare go near a villain like Frollo?
You done lost your damn mind. When you get your damn mind, you call me.
Listen, current Disney is too busy making live action remakes and chasing box office dollars to risk alienating anyone. And let's be honest, it's not just Disney, it's us, the audience. People today are so quick to take offense and are easily sensitive that a film like The Hunchback will get dragged across social media within hours of release. Imagine Disney dropping this exact movie in 2025. The version Disney gave us in 1996, that's watered down. Victor Hugo's novel is way darker. I highly recommend reading it. So, in this scene where Frollo is sexually harassing Esmeralda, let's call it for what it is, he's blaming her for his lustful thoughts.
Huh?
How is that her fault? We all know Esmeralda is a baddie. That does not give you the right to sniff her like a salivating dog and have thoughts about sexually assaulting her. Rather than admitting that he is the source of his own impure desires, he tosses blame. It is Esmeralda. She's the temptress, says the man who grabbed her from behind, pinned her arm back, and sniffed her hair. What made him sniff her? Who goes around sniffing people? And that brings us to the crown jewel of villain songs, Hellfire.
Brilliant, incredible, amazing, show-stopping, spectacular, never the same, totally unique.
Disney did not need to go this hard, but they did. It has been described in the last couple of decades as one of the best villain songs of all time. Obviously, for copyright reasons, I can't play the song, but shout out and RIP to Tony J, the voice actor behind Frollo, who did an amazing and chilling performance singing Hellfire. The brilliance of Hellfire is that it sits in direct contrast with Quasimodo's song Heaven's Light. Quasi sings about hope and innocent love, praying that Esmeralda might see something good in him. Frollo, meanwhile, sings about obsession, lust, and damnation, demanding that God either destroy Esmeralda or make her his possession. Same woman, two men, two completely different responses, one rooted in selfless longing, the other dripping with ego and entitlement. Now, Frollo doesn't just dabble in one sin, he's basically speedrunning the 7 deadlies: pride, lust, and wrath. The beginning of the song starts with a chanting of the Confiteor. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but a Confiteor is a Latin prayer of confession used by the Roman Catholic Church, recited during Mass as an admission of guilt and wrongdoing. There is a sense of dramatic irony throughout the song as Frollo sings, "It's not my fault, I'm not to blame, it's the gypsy girl." From his window, Frollo looks out at Notre Dame and sings,
Beata Maria, you know I am a righteous man.
which means Blessed Mary, about how she knows he's a righteous man and better than the common, vulgar, weak, licentious crowd. And I probably didn't state it before, I'm not very knowledgeable about religion. This isn't how Christianity operates or roll, is it? Out of everyone, Frollo should be aware that he shouldn't think of himself as virtuous, but do you, I guess. Frollo sings about his desire for her and his resentment of Esmeralda for it. Red hooded figures rise from the floor screaming mea culpa, a Latin term meaning my fault or my mistake, which is an admission of wrongdoing. He accuses her of bringing him to sin and denies his own responsibility. The cloaked creatures stand on either side of Frollo as he dashes through the room, declaring his innocence with passion. He says that Esmeralda has enticed him, has enchanted him. He reiterates his innocence by asserting that God made the devil so much stronger than a man.
Wait a damn minute. Wait a damn.
Bro, be so effing for real right now. I know he did not just blame the man upstairs for his lust. The jokes write themselves. Frollo begs Mary to save him from Esmeralda's carnal temptations, which would condemn him to an eternity in hell, claiming Esmeralda must burn or become his lover. Frollo, I'm gonna hold your hand with a napkin when I tell you this. Have you ever heard the word consent? You should try it sometimes, it does wonders. Then mid-meltdown, a guard barges in. The gypsy woman has escaped. She's nowhere in the cathedral. She's gone. She dipped. In that instant, the red Hellfire glow vanishes, replaced by a flood of ethereal white light, as though God himself just granted Frollo's plea, "Deliver me from temptation." Esmeralda is gone. He could simply walk away.
But how? Never mind. Get out, you idiot. I'll find her.
That guard is essentially a direct message from God. He was begging, pleading on his knees for God to save him from temptation. Like I said, Esmeralda is gone. She won't tempt him anymore. He actively refuses to take that option and decides to keep chasing her, and that was his last chance to redeem himself. That moment is his final crossroads, and he chooses damnation. Both Quasimodo and Frollo feel strong emotions for Esmeralda. Envy in Quasimodo's case, lust in Frollo's. Both of them sin in different ways, but Quasimodo grows. He humbly lets go of his envy and accepts her love for another, finding peace in the fact that she loves him as family. Frollo, in contrast, indulges his ego until it consumes him. The difference between the two isn't whether they feel dark impulses, it's whether they take responsibility for them. And that's the larger cultural commentary embedded in Hellfire. Time and time again, women have always been shamed, blamed, and punished for men's inability or unwillingness to control their own thoughts and desires. Frollo embodies that toxic tradition perfectly. His lust becomes Esmeralda's fault. His violence becomes her punishment. Frollo vows to find Esmeralda even if he has to burn down all of Paris.
Is this nigga serious?
I would be so pissed if I was a citizen in Paris right now. You telling me, us the people of Paris who are minding their own business, we all gotta suffer and get burned to death just because you gonna get your wee-wee wet?
Yes.
In the final verse, Frollo backs up against a wall and asks God to have mercy on him and Esmeralda, implying that he ultimately knows that his actions violate God's will. Finishing the song, Frollo passes out and falls face first on the floor in the shape of an upside-down crucifix as the fire fades. I do have to say this, the entire Hellfire sequence is absolutely hellishly breathtaking. It has been widely acclaimed as one of the standout moments of the film's soundtrack, earning praise for both its composition and Tony Jay's chilling vocal performance. Yet the song has also stirred controversy. Hellfire is among the darkest sequences in any Disney film, confronting themes of hell, sin, damnation, and lust, subjects typically considered inappropriate for a young audience. So intense was the material that the MPAA seriously considered assigning the film a PG rating. In response, Disney defended the choice, emphasizing that their adaptation was intended to resonate more with adults than with children. Going back to the story, Frollo proceeds to arrest a bunch of people left and right and sets a house on fire. Phoebus not only defies orders, but he also saves the family from the burning house, and Frollo orders him to be executed. I honestly respect Phoebus for that, because history is full of atrocities committed by those who just followed orders. Even when they knew their actions were wrong, soldiers and officials were often permitted to burn, pillage, and commit unspeakable acts under the guise of obedience, and when held accountable, they will hide behind that very excuse. Now, this is what makes Frollo so chilling, is that he possesses no supernatural powers, no magical abilities. He is terrifying precisely because he is human. He is an ordinary man, corrupted by absolute authority, willing to use religion as a tool of justification and enforcing his whims with brutal finality. A real-world Frollo isn't a fantasy. He is entirely possible. Someone who wields institutional power and rationalizes cruelty through ideology. In that sense, the danger he represents extends beyond fiction, a reminder that human depravity doesn't require magic to be deadly. Moving forward, we see Frollo yelling at Quasimodo yet again, telling him, "I know you helped Esmeralda escape," and get this, he blames Quasi for all of Paris burning.
Flashback.
He also uses Esmeralda's identity as a gypsy woman to manipulate Quasimodo's perceptions, claiming that gypsies are incapable of true love, a sly, insidious form of prejudice layered onto his psychological manipulation. Frollo then claims, "I already know where Esmeralda is. I know her scent. I sniffed her hair. I'm gonna attack with 1,000 men at dawn, and I'm gonna sniff her hair again." In reality, it's a ruse. He doesn't know her location and hopes Quasi will unwillingly lead him there.
Think, boy, think of your mother.
Frollo's only moment of true fear for his soul comes when he remembers Quasimodo's mother. It's the rare instant he feels regret, a flicker of sanity breaking through his cruelty. Thinking of her steadies him, not out of compassion, mind you, but because it momentarily reminds him his actions are not entirely beyond judgment. Frollo manages to capture Esmeralda and gives her an ultimatum. "I likes you, and I want you. We can do this the easy way or the hard way. The choice is yours. Either be my lover in holy matrimony or be burned at the stake." I know that's right. I soon gotta be burnt to a crisp than be wed to a man like you. Frollo turns to the crowd and basically says, "The gypsy Esmeralda has refused to be my sex slave. Other than that, no real crime has been committed." Frollo clearly can't read the room, because why would she choose you? A man who has persecuted her people for the last 20 years and committed genocide against said people. Why would you presume she forsake them for you? Frollo's logic is disturbingly twisted. Whether Esmeralda submits to him or dies, he frames it as a victory. Either she is saved and redeemed through him, or she is punished for her perceived defiance. And dude, I am loving the crowd here. They're actually fighting back because they know this is getting ridiculous and out of hand. They're questioning, "Hey, why are we still following this guy? He literally set Paris on fire for this one girl. Y'all can easily jump him. Yeah, there are guards with weapons, but y'all outnumber the guards too. And don't the people of Paris have a history of jumping tyrannical rulers?" We then shift to Quasimodo, chained to multiple pillars as the gargoyles attempt to free him. Speaking of the gargoyles, there's this dark headcanon around the internet about them. What if the gargoyles aren't real at all? What if they're Quasimodo's imaginary friends? Projections of a psyche cracking under the decades of isolation and abuse. That's not just a headcanon, that's a psychological horror subplot Disney accidentally wrote for themselves. But whether they're magic statues or Quasi's inner voices, the symbolism slaps. For much of his life, he believed himself unworthy, trapped both physically and emotionally, bound by the authority of Frollo and the church. Breaking the chains represents a crucial moment of self-liberation. He begins to trust his own judgment rather than what other people impose upon him. He recognizes Esmeralda as inherently good, contrary to the lies he's been fed about her character. His defiance becomes a moral and emotional turning point. He chooses to act for what is right, not what he has been commanded to believe. So Quasimodo saves homegirl Esmeralda, and let me tell y'all, that got Frollo so heated that he stopped seeing him as a person, calling him only the Hunchback.
The Hunchback and I have unfinished business to attend to.
That's when you know he's gone past the point of no return. He's no longer a man deluded into thinking he's righteous. He's pure hatred given form. He is fully unmasked as a deranged, hellbound soul. The animators underline this transformation with terrifying clarity. Frollo becomes almost monstrous in appearance. His form bathed in the fiery orange glow of Hellfire, it is though his inner demon bursts through the human shell, revealing his true self at last. This visual contrast is deliberate. Quasimodo, though outwardly deformed, is rendered with a softness that makes him sympathetic, even endearing. Frollo, by comparison, sheds his civilized veneer to reveal something grotesque and demonic. The film ultimately frames their conflict as a story between a man and a monster. Quasimodo, despite his appearance, is the embodiment of humanity, kindness, and compassion. Frollo, though outwardly respectable and normal, is the real monster, an embodiment of hatred, lust, and hypocrisy. The climax crystallizes this truth. Quasimodo proves himself more human than anyone, while Frollo dies, consumed by the very hellfire he unleashed. In the end, Frollo stands as one of Disney's most complex villains, perhaps too complex for modern-day Disney to ever attempt again. This is why his death feels less like an end of a character and more like a cautionary tale, carved in the very stone of Notre Dame. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!
Get your blessing, go get it,